In what seems like a major rollback, Russia has stopped work on two massive projects. These were supposed to be two of the most lethal surface combatants to be coming out of Russia and would have been a challenge to any rival, including the US. Russia's Severnoye Design Bureau has acknowledged that the development of Project 23560 destroyers, also known as the Lighter class, and the Project 22350M frigate has been abandoned. Russian newspaper Interfax revealed this development earlier this month, and it got the information from the annual review of the shipbuilder's activities in 2019. Viewers may note that Severnoye is part of the country's state-owned United Shipbuilding Corporation. The situation raises questions about the long-term financial stability of the country, since the projects were thought to have the backing of the important people in the Russian power circle. In this video, Defense Updates analyzes why Russia has stopped Project 23560 destroyer and Project 22350M frigate. Let's get started. This video is sponsored by the free-to-play military vehicle combat game War Thunder. We talk a lot about military vehicles on this channel, but what about trying them out for yourself? In War Thunder, you can choose from more than 1,200 playable vehicles from the 1930s to the 1990s and go to battle on more than 80 theaters of war. You can fly aircraft, helicopters, drive tanks, and command ships of all types and sizes, which have been carefully recreated from their real-world counterparts. It's available as a free download on PC, PlayStation 4, and Xbox One with cross-platform support. So grab your friends and give it a try. All viewers of Defense Updates that register using the link in the description below will also get a free premium tank, aircraft, or ship and 3 days of premium account time as a bonus. The Project 23560 first emerged publicly in 2015. Reports indicate that it was already into the design phase for 2 years by then. The Krylov State Scientific Center is responsible for the actual design, whereas Severnoye was supposed to build it. Project 23560 Lighter Destroyer is an extremely ambitious project and expected to have a displacement of around 19,000 tons. To give viewers a perspective, Arleigh Burke-class Flight 3 destroyers have a displacement of 9,800 tons, and Ticonderoga-class cruisers have a displacement of 9,800 tons when fully loaded. Not only this, the lighter destroyer was to be nuclear-powered, though the initial design was assumed to be conventionally powered. Project 22350M frigate is a more capable derivative of Project 22350 Admiral Gorshkov frigate. Viewers may note that the lead ship, Admiral Gorshkov, is undergoing sea trials currently, and Russia plans to have a total of 8 frigates of this class. The Project 22350M had been billed as a potential replacement for aging Soviet-era Project 956 Sarek and Project 1155 Frigate-class destroyers, also known as the Sovremeny and Udaloy classes, respectively. The development of the project stemmed from the fact that both of those classes lack vertical launch system, or VLS, arrays with universal cells capable of firing Russia's new naval missiles. Admiral Gorshkov has 16 VLS arrays, but there's a plan to arm the last 4 ships of the class with 24 VLS. Project 22350M design will go a step further and is expected to accommodate around 48 VLS cells. To accommodate this, Project 22350M is expected to have a displacement of 7,000 tons, whereas the Admiral Gorshkov has a displacement of only 4,500 tons. Russia's military has been facing a lot of problems in developing and deploying platforms, which have been published in the media vigorously. This list includes Sukhoi Su-57 fighter and T14 Armata main battle tank, to name a few. The Sukhoi Su-57 is a fifth-generation, stealthy, single-seat, twin-engine jet multi-role fighter aircraft designed for air superiority and ground attack operations. It's the successor of Su-35 and Russia's answer to American F-35 Lightning II and F-22 Raptor. Although most information is classified, sources within the Sukhoi Company and Defense Ministry have openly stated that the aircraft is stealthy, super maneuverable, has super cruise capability, incorporates substantial amounts of composite materials, and possesses advanced avionics such as active phased array radar and sensor fusion. Russian President Vladimir Putin had earlier stated that a procurement plan is being laid out for acquiring 76 Su-57. The announcement was made during a meeting on May 15, 2019. These jets are expected to be deployed by 2028. The Kremlin had previously planned to have 150 of these aircraft in service by 2020. So there's a huge cutback, and it remains to be seen if even 76 Su-57 actually get delivered. The Armata T14 is a state-of-the-art Russian main battle tank based on the Armata Universal Combat Platform, which has been developed from scratch. It's intended to slowly replace T-72 and T-90 tanks. The design incorporates very interesting features like revolutionary, fully automated unmanned turret, a first for any tank, ability to move at up to 90 kilometers per hour or 56 miles per hour, which is much faster than the US main battle tank Abrams M1A2, and having Afghanet active protection system to detect incoming projectiles and automatically intercept them. Russian Deputy Prime Minister Yuri Borisov told reporters on July 30, 2018, "Well, why flood the all-armed forces with the Armata tanks? We have the T-72s in great demand in the market. They take it all compared to Abrams, Leclercs, and Leopards for their price, efficiency, and quality." But the real issue is the project is delayed. The Russian army initially planned to acquire 2,300 T-14s between 2015 and 2020. Production and fiscal shortfalls delayed this to 2025, and then to the cancellation of the main production run. Now only the test batch of 100 is supposed to be delivered and deployed to the 2nd Guards Tamanskaya Motor Rifle Division, with delivery expected in 2020 or later. Not only new projects are getting delayed, the modernization of the current assets of the Russian surface fleet is stuck. Its only aircraft carrier, Admiral Kuznetsov, has also been out of commission indefinitely after a major accident in 2018, in which the floating dry dock PD-50 sank. In December 2019, the carrier caught fire, and the carrier may never come back to service again. To know more on that, check the video on the above card. A major overhaul of the Admiral Nakhanov, one of the Russian Navy's 2 remaining Kirov-class battlecruisers, has been delayed, and no one seems to know its actual fate. In 2006, a decision was made to modernize this ship. As per the latest report, the revised date seems to have been pushed to 2022 or later. So it can be seen that the upgrade is not completed, though about 15 years have passed. Russia had plans to modernize its sister ship, Peter Velicki, which is also stuck now. International sanctions and a lackluster domestic economy have forced Russia to make cuts to its defense budget. For example, in May 2018, the Kremlin had announced a new round of budget cuts, slashing annual defense spending by almost 20% from the previous year. The recent fall in crude oil prices and demand doesn't help the cause, since it's a major source of income for the Russian government. The cash crunch has repeatedly forced Russia to shift funds from lower priority programs to higher priority strategic programs. This includes new hypersonic missiles, Burevestnik nuclear-powered and nuclear-armed cruise missile, and Sarmat, or Saturn II, heavy thermonuclear long-range ballistic missile. It's important to note that the Severnoye Design Bureau relies heavily on Russian government orders to sustain its military shipbuilding enterprise. Stopping of works for Project 23560 and Project 22350M warships, at least in the near future, is expected to have serious implications. According to Interfax, the decision to fully halt work on both these programs does not allow counting on the stable financial and economic situation of the company, states Severnoye Design Bureau 2019 review. Russia could still try to resurrect the two programs, but as of now, things look gloomy.
Thanks for watching. Subscribe for more videos like this. Hit the like button if you find the video interesting, and kindly provide your feedback in the comment section. This will help us improve.